Morning, everybody. Welcome to the January 17th Public Protective Services Committee. The voting members on this are myself and Councillor Berg, who are in chambers, and Councillor O'Connor and Mayor Clayton, who are on the phone right now. Also, just a note, we're going to change the agenda around a little bit at the request of administration. We're going to have item 3.4 come right after the Director's Service Area report. And that takes us right to 3.1, Service Area Update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm pleased to report on the community social development side that we participated in a Thriving in the City event at Northwest Polytechnic to promote the Youth Advisory Council. And we received 12 applications for Explore GP. These were from new immigrant students. And Passionate Heart Award nominations are still open until January the 24th. The event will be held on February the 14th at the Bonnet Energy Centre, and I believe that's in the council calendar. On the housing and homelessness initiative front, as you may know, Wendy Hughes has accepted a secondment as the interim housing and homelessness director for a period of 6 months. So we're really pleased with that appointment. And winter emergency response started on January the 5th. This temporary emergency mat program provides a warm, safe place for individuals during extreme winter weather conditions while addressing capacity overages at Wapiti House. This program is located at the South Bear Creek Pavilion until March 31st, 2023. We have about 12 to 15 people take advantage of that program every evening. On the enforcement services side, just want to report that during this reporting period, enforcement has worked very closely with transportation to ensure efficient snow clearing operations. And enforcement has used education and provided some warnings and issued some violations in support of snow clearing. And while there have been some objections, overall citizens appear to be in support of city's snow clearing operations. Also, during this reporting period, enforcement has received a number of complaints relating to sidewalk snow clearing. So they use a three-step process there of education, warning, and enforcement action. So that process has been going fairly well also. On a GPREP side, I just want to mention that GPREP will be holding a stakeholder meeting this Friday on January 20th. This is where we network with emergency management networks with first responders to ensure that we have common goals and objectives. From the fire department is currently recruiting 2 additional firefighters to fill the flex positions that were approved during budget. So the hiring and base training will be completed. It takes quite a long process to go through the recruitment and the training. So we expect that to be completed and having those people ready for active duty in early July. Fire department is also hiring a deputy fire chief. This position is vacant at the current time, and hope to have somebody in place by mid-February. I also wanted to mention that on medical co-response side for the fire department, that the department has experienced very long delays in waiting for ambulances when responding to medical co-response. So that's something that's a concern for me, and so I've asked for a detailed report from the fire department on that situation, and I'll be reporting back to committee on that. From the RCMP on December 1st, the Grande Prairie RCMP received a report from a local hotel of identity theft. A hotel believed that a client was fraudulently using a credit card to obtain lodging. An investigation ensued, resulting in a search warrant and at a residential apartment in Grande Prairie. The search of the residence resulted in the recovery of stolen property, stolen identification, fraudulent documents, forged documents, and equipment to create forged documents. 2 individuals were charged with a number of offenses relating to that investigation. And also the RCMP on or about January the 9th received a report of that a member of the public had received a phone call advising them of a potential threatening situation. 3 additional schools and a school district office and a hotel outside the city received similar calls advising of a potential threat to the location. So preliminary investigation determined the origin of all the phone calls coming from outside of Canada, but the RCMP take these very seriously and have thoroughly investigated that particular threat. From mobile outreach, we're currently recruiting 1 full-time outreach worker, 3 casual outreach workers, and a team lead for that team. And outreach is providing client transportation to and from the winter temporary emergency response shelter. In the Community Knowledge Campus, happy to report that just under 3,000 members and guests enjoyed the Eastlink Center's 10th anniversary wrap-up party held on December the 11th. And December sales revenue was strengthened by the release of our Holidays Gift Giving Guide, and sales of the promoted gift ideas reached almost $95,000, very significant. And this was in addition to the $67,000 of regular gift card sales. So the 22 holiday sales season was a huge success, totaling $161,000. So very good news there. And the Eastlink Center Aquatic Flow Rider is set up to reopen on January the 23rd. And we have some new recruits in aquatic staff that will be taking part in aquatics in service on January 14th to begin their training. Sports development, wellness, and culture. New Year's Eve was a tremendous success with an estimated 7,000 people coming through the pavilion and even more in attendance to the fireworks that were presented by Explore. So a real success story there. The Ernie Radburn Pavilion hours were extended between December 28th and January the 6th, and an estimated 530 skaters visited the pond outside of those normal operating hours. And with transit, I'm just going to mention that the heater is now operational at the Eastlink bus shelter. And we've received many charter requests over the past few weeks, one of a significant size, and we're able to accommodate all of them, so we're really pleased with that. And we also attended the Northwest Polytechnic Thriving in the City event for new students. And that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Excellent. Thank you for the report. Are there any questions? Not hearing anybody jump in, so I will move on to item 3.2, Eastlink Center memberships. That's Ms. Redding. And if you wouldn't mind just introducing your team or having them introduce themselves while they're up here, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Before I get started, I'd like to introduce two. Are we on? Am I not close enough? Too short. Yeah. All right. How's that?
That sounds great.
Thank you. All right. So I'd like to introduce two additional subject matter experts that their hard work is reflected in the report that we brought forward. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Cox. I'm the Membership and Growth Coordinator for the Community Knowledge Campus.
And I'm Pam Traris. I'm the Marketing Specialist for Corporate Marketing.
So thank you.
So Mackenzie started her employment with the city just 7 months ago and hit the ground running, as evidenced in the report that we're about to share. And Pam is currently a dedicated resource to the Eastlink Center Membership Growth Marketing Campaign and has delivered successful marketing strategies that are also reflected in the report. So thank you guys for coming. With that, Chair Brassey, I will get started. So throughout the past year, administration has conducted surveys, analyzed data findings, reviewed and consulted comparable facilities related to Eastlink Center memberships and pricing. In September of 2022, administration engaged a firm to conduct more in-depth market research through online and telephone surveys. A key focus of these surveys was to determine the optimum rate structure to maximize revenues at the facility. Non-members, lapsed members, and current members of the Eastlink Center were engaged with survey questions specifically geared towards Eastlink Center membership. Based on the findings of the report and from consulting comparable facilities, administration recommends simplification of the overall pricing structure via the reduction of categories. The amalgamation of senior, student, and youth fees, as well as the elimination of the 6-month prepaid and annual prepaid membership options, will serve to further optimize our pricing structure. Consistency in price builds confidence in the consumer and increases overall trust. Over the course of Q4 2022, corporate marketing created social media campaigns highlighting Eastlink Center amenities, programs, services, as well as the many benefits of becoming an Eastlink Center member. These campaigns produced high engagement and resulted in an increase of membership sales. Since the submission of the report, I am pleased to report today that as of this morning, membership sales have increased an additional 9% from December 31st. So that's an overall steady increase of 67% in the last 7 months. With these promising results and to maintain the momentum, corporate marketing is continuing with a larger campaign to engage residents and focus on continued education, bringing awareness on all that the Eastlink Centre has to offer. An additional recommendation made by the consulting firm was that Eastlink Centre membership rates are already optimized for greatest revenue potential and that it would be of greater value to incentivize memberships in different ways. Analysis of comparable facilities across the province showed that current Eastlink Centre membership rates are at or below the average. So, to incentivize memberships in different ways and based on the review of comparable facilities, administration recommends introducing a new membership type that will include additional city facilities, adding benefits to elevate existing membership offerings. The 2023 Strategic Marketing Plan developed for Eastlink Centre's membership growth and awareness will include the promotion of this new membership option. The proposed amalgamation of the fee structure and new membership options are estimated to lead to an increase in membership sales and higher membership retention. In summary, the recommendations in the report provide our community with price optimization, ease of membership selection, and additional membership type while balancing fiscal responsibilities and expected deliverables. Administration recommends Council approve the recommendations as presented in the report. Thank you, and we're happy to answer questions.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the report and congratulations on the progress we've had in membership. I know that's a priority for Council to see that building full, and it's noticeably fuller these days. So thank you to not just you three, but your entire team that's making that possible. Really appreciated. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Bressie. So my question, I guess, is I just more than anything, just want a quick 1 or 2 line summary. So we're eliminating the 6-month and 1 year prepaid, and people will pay on a monthly basis. Is that correct?
Thank you, through the chair. That's correct. So typically in membership structures like we have, opting in is more of what's on trend. And so as people opt in, they would, if they're looking to not continue their membership payments, then they would opt out of that. So we would have a process at the beginning, and then it would be that automatic renewal.
Okay, so you say automatic renewal, but somebody could opt out 7-8 months in. That's possible?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I just look at my fitness regime where I bought a prepaid membership, used it extensively for the first 4 months, and then opted for fatness instead of fitness.
Excellent. I'll go to Mayor Clayton and the folks that are on the phone with her. Do any of you folks have a question? Not hearing them. We do have quorum regardless of if they're here or not. A question I've got is, was there any consideration in making this a full city pass and including transit in this? Was that part of the conversations at all?
Nope, nothing to add.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Clayton.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. So the All Access Pass could include other elements that the city has to offer. Internally, we got very excited about what the potential is, but that could be something that we consider as well.
Well, and it probably makes sense to start slow, but I know that there'd be at least one councillor who'd be very excited if that ever came to us. I just like the idea of making it easier to access all city services, and maybe there's people that don't ride transit right now, but would if all of a sudden they had a pass that lets them hop on that bus once. So something I'm fine with where things are today, but I hope we have that conversation in the future. I'm not seeing anybody else with questions, so Councillor Berg, maybe would you be willing to do the business
I
closing?
absolutely would. I would like to let the committee recommend Council, 1, approve the amalgamation and price optimization of senior student and youth fees. 2, approve the elimination of 6-month and annual prepaid memberships. 3, approve the new membership type, option 1. And 4, direct administration to prepare amendments to the fees, rates, and charges bylaw to reflect these changes.
Great. Thank you. And I'll just give a moment to let anybody chip in if they've got anything to say about the Business Rising.
Nothing from our end, thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Then I will call to question. Mayor Clayton, how do you vote?
In favor?
And
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Excellent. Thank you. And that motion carries. Thank you for the report. And again, thank you for the work all you folks are doing.
Thank you, Chair Bressy.
And that brings us to the next item, addictions and mental health resources. Ms. Sutherland. So whenever you're ready.
All right, good morning, everybody. So at the August 16th Protective Services Committee meeting, administration was directed to report back with a comparative inventory of treatment, recovery, and addictions and mental health services in Grande Prairie and other areas. So attached to the report, administration put together a very brief overview of 5 municipalities, which included Grande Prairie, of course, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Red Deer, and Wood Buffalo. And the reasons why those were chosen were due to the comparative populations and challenges that they are facing as mid-sized cities. Administration, in terms of methodology, had consulted databases, search engines, did research, and consulted relative partners, including Alberta Health Services, to gather the information that's in front of you today. So administration highlighted a table for easy reference for committee to review in terms of the comparative information that we found. And a few highlights there that include, that I'd like to make aware, is in terms of navigating the AHS directories and information, it can be complicated. So we can imagine what it's like for individuals seeking services. Some outpatient services, predominantly for children and youth, are available in other centers, but not Grande Prairie, such as infant and preschool mental health services. As we all are aware, there's a noticeable gap in transitional housing opportunities for individuals that have completed withdrawal and stabilization programs or short-term recovery. At this time in Grande Prairie, there's only one long-term residential treatment center, and this, of course, limits the programming options for our individuals here in Grande Prairie. Withdrawal supports are available for youth, but at this point, there's no residential treatment facility, so we know that youth needing residential treatment programs typically have to travel to Edmonton. Through our scan as well, we noticed that there is a lack of residential treatment options that integrate Indigenous cultural and spiritual practices. As always, there's always a need to ensure adequate continuing care supports, really to support that recovery-oriented system of care that include supportive housing and sober living facilities. And of course, we'd like to note that there's a couple options in the province for recovery community treatment centers that do meet the holistic needs of individuals. One of them being, or a couple that are being constructed are in Medicine Hat and Red Deer. And of course, we'd like to note that there's one that's in Lloydminster that's called the Thorpe Recovery Center that looks promising. So in summary, ongoing advocacy, of course, is very important in terms of Grande Prairie receiving the adequate supports that it needs. This scan included a lot of superficial in terms of what we could find. If council decides that we want to do a deeper dive, we can certainly do that because we know that there's other programming as well that's filtered throughout the community that address this area of need. But at this time, this is what we have provided at this point, and we seek further direction from council if they would like more information on that in terms of their advocacy priorities. But we do want to highlight that there is an important need to have a broad spectrum of holistic services for our community that meet people where they're at in their journey towards recovery. And with that, I'll be open to any questions you may have.
Excellent. Thank you. Definitely appreciate the report. And I see Councillor Berg eager to get in.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bressy. So just a handful of small items. I anticipate that this report will be vastly different 1 year from now, simply because we've got 3 new buildings coming in online, the Community Care Campus, the Fletcher Building, and Sunrise House. Just ballpark, even seasonally, when do we expect these different services to come online in their brand new facilities?
Through the chair. I do know that I don't have the definitive timeline right now in front of me regarding Sunrise House, but I knew that we'll add in an additional 12 beds for shelter and an additional 11, or actually not additional, new units for transitional housing. I spoke with Ms. Wald, who's the executive director of Sunrise House, and she hasn't confirmed at this point. It'll be very flexible on the length of stay for youth for those longer term stays. In terms of the Coordinated Care Campus, we know that we're going to bring additional units online coming up in the very near future. So that'll add in another, we have 27 right now, so that'll be an additional, see if I can do math in my head right now, 36. And so there'll be other opportunities there. So I think along with that, we're doing a lot of systems planning with our other partners, including AHS, on how we can better support our individuals.
Yeah, terrific. Thank you. So I appreciated that you flagged transitional housing, because that's one area that I see a major gap in. And I know facilities in Calgary, like Fresh Start, you transition from one building straight into the other for transitional housing. Is there anything on our horizon around that you're aware of?
So through the chair, through our housing and homelessness initiatives, we had done bridge housing, which is a form of transitional housing, and we found it was very, very successful. And so one of the challenges there at this point is looking for a provider that can provide the infrastructure and programming needs regarding that. In our discussions with administration and the team, we do know that there's a need in terms of through this area around, even through people experiencing homelessness, 20 to 30 at least. So we're continuing to look for opportunities regarding transitional housing and who we could partner with to provide those necessary services. And I would like to highlight as well that one of the key areas that we're focusing on around this is actually the need to bring people together to really support the coordination of systems. So the more that people communicate that are in the sector, we can better navigate those systems for individuals.
Yeah, thank you. And then finally, if I may, Chair Bressie, is with people that are going through mental health and addictions, when they decide to get help, usually it's a very fine window because they are not stable and prone to making changes. So just a couple of things. One, it is very important that we have this in the area because transporting somebody in a fragile state down to Edmonton, Calgary, Ponoka can be very challenging. So something in our immediate area is critical. What are typical wait times, or did you do the research, typical wait times to get in these facilities in other cities versus Grande Prairie?
Through the chair, that's a very good question, and we didn't get deep enough about wait times. But we can certainly get back to you with that.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
I'll go to the phone and ask our crew on the phone if anybody there has questions.
No, all good, thank you.
Excellent. A question I've got is, where would our current 26-ish people that are in the CCC fall into this table right now? Where would they be counted?
Okay, so through the chair, at the current state in this table, the residents that we've outlined around the Coordinated Care Campus are under the permanent supported housing.
Excellent, thank you. I don't have any more questions. It was a really thorough report, which I really appreciated. But I agree with Councillor Berg that I'd love to get more information on wait times. And specifically, I know that if we're asking for wait times, there's a long list of services here, and I don't know if I necessarily want wait times for all of them. But I know for me, the relevant wait times would be for stabilization and detox, and for treatment. So when somebody says, hey, I'm in the lifestyle I want to get out of, how long do they have to wait to have a realistic chance to get out of that lifestyle? I'm wondering if Councillor Berg, you might be willing to make a motion to formally ask for that.
Absolutely. So I'd like to make a motion that we do get a report on wait times around access to detox and treatment.
And for me, I don't necessarily care about a comparative wait times, but I don't know what your intention is, Councillor Berg. Do you care about comparative wait times or just what's going on in our community?
Yes, I don't need it as part of the formal report, but again, I just want to know the measuring stick and access, because again, although we have the one facility here in town, I know that the wait list can be quite long, where I would like to see what other places around the province might be doing to find out what their successes are, and maybe we can emulate that in some way.
So you would like comparative wait times from the cities surveyed?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to scroll over to the motion. So maybe if we word the motion, committee direct administration provide...
Rusty, if I may.
Yeah, please, Mayor Clayton.
I'll ask a question for administration. I know some of these facilities are relatively new and in the works. I don't know if you're going to get a lot of data that you're looking for, Councillor Berg. I guess if available, great, but I don't think you're going to get the full gamut that you're looking for.
And honestly, Mayor Clayton, I would be happy with that.
Okay, so maybe what we'll do is what the motion reads right now is committee direct administration to provide a report on wait times regarding access to detox and treatment. Maybe we'll just leave it there and then let administration know, hey, if you feel that you can give comparative, that's great.
Yeah, I support that.
Okay, awesome. Any, on the phone, any conversation or debate on the motion?
No, but just love to vote before I lose signal.
Awesome. Well, then I'll call to question. Mayor Clayton, how do you vote?
In favor?
Councillor O'Connor, how do you vote? Okay. And that motion carries. And Councillor Berg, would you make a motion to receive for information too?
Absolutely. I would like committee to accept this report for information.
Excellent. Mayor Clayton, how do you vote?
Mayor Clayton votes in favor. In favor? O'Connor in favor.
And that motion carries too. Thank you. I appreciate the report. And as council's heading into conversations about advocacy, I think this is a very well-timed report. So thank you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to our final piece of business. We've got bicycle safety initiatives. I see two general. I don't know who's coming up. Mr. LaFave? Awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Nellis is my backup there.
Awesome. And yeah, welcome up. Thanks for the report. And I know that you've had a very busy department lately that's navigating a lot of changes and I think doing really good work for us. So this is another piece of paper we put on your desk, but really appreciate the report and appreciate all the other work you and your people are doing. Really happy with it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee directed administration to bring forward a report including the budget regarding signage where appropriate with costs in our trail system. So as with most cities, City of Grande Prairie has seen an increase in e-bikes, bikes, e-scooters, as well as other unique modes of transportation on our roads, sidewalks, and the trail system. So we have partnered with transportation and are committed to improving the safety throughout the community. City enforcement has not received many complaints regarding the use of various types of transportation, but understand that some community members are concerned with the safety when they are walking the trail system. So if you look at the analysis, we did talk about, I think the original complaint that we had from Councillor O'Connor was the Crystal Lake area. So what we decided to do is break down the entry points and exit points around the lake only. And that would bring us to approximately 12 signs. The total cost per signs would be $375 for the total cost of $4,500. Another area that was discussed was the Muskosipi Trails. This option would be inexpensive as it would use the existing infrastructure and requires no additional locates or ground disturbance. They would be attached to the back of existing posts, and as a result, we would recommend a smaller sign that you see in the attachment 2, which would be approximately 17 inches by 6 inches. And the signs of Muskosipi have been a frequent target of vandalism, and this configuration limits the ease in which they can be destroyed. There would be approximately 37 signs in Muskosipi Park for a total estimated cost of $4,255. When we look at the remaining trail system within the city, which are all identified there, it's quite a larger number. This cost would be significantly higher and would require we would be looking at the entry and exit points of the trail segments, as well as significant intersections and decision points. The tally of the locations are estimated at approximately 305. And we would look at bigger signs, which are attached at the back, approximately about a foot by a foot. So for the remainder of the trail system, we're looking at approximately 305 signs at a cost of $375 per sign, which would be a total of just over $114,000. So the addition of this signage may reduce trail users' conflict from occurring and increase stronger sense of safety on the trail system. And if we look at the financial implications, we have added there the three options that we've just discussed. In conclusion, so in Grande Prairie, there is no data to suggest that there are safety concerns on our trail system resulting from conflicts between various modes of transportation. However, this is something that will require monitoring since the use of these numerous types of transportation are obviously on the rise. That concludes our report and open for any questions.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll just go to the phone first in case they're struggling for reception. So is anybody on the phone still there and have questions? All right, Councillor Berg, it might be just you and I, but go for it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So just kind of curious, is this based on research or anecdotal complaints?
This was based on Mr. O'Connor being advised by a community individual, specifically for Crystal Lake. When we looked at the complaints from the RCMP and city enforcement, we found no complaints originating for those areas.
Okay, yeah, so again, earlier I'd mentioned that I abandoned my Eastlink ship member, but I walked the Crystal Lake trails about 3 times a week through, the bike season, and I never had a single issue. However, with Muskogee Park, I did have probably 4, maybe even 5 complaints, particularly around the core, around Ernie Radburn Pavilion, under the bridge. So while I look at this, and I'm not opposed to Crystal Lake, but I absolutely would like to add Muskogee Park. So I just kind of want to create some debate around that, because right now that would be the motion that I would make, is to do both trail systems, Crystal Lake and Muskogee Park. Certainly not the entire city, but again, I have had personal complaints from friends around Muskogee Park in that core area.
Great. Yeah, and I know for me personally, I don't have too much experience on trails, but I do at hole 4 and hole 12 of the disc golf course, and I'll tell you that those are 2 parts of the path where I do often see situations that I'm kind of going, ooh, that could have gone bad. So I definitely do support in the Muskogee corridor. I was thinking the thing about the Muskogee corridor is really what this is about is setting culture and teaching people that are maybe new to, maybe they haven't lived in a big city before where there is a trail, or maybe they're young people who are riding bikes for the first time. It's sharing what the expectations are when you're on our trails. I think if we've got it in our central corridor, hopefully we don't need it in these other neighborhood locations because they're seeing the sign once, twice there and going, oh yeah, that is how I should do this. So personally, I would love to get to a point where we're only doing Muskogee Park, not Crystal Lake and Muskogee Park personally, but.
Yeah, and if I may add, around Crystal Lake, maybe with the bike park, there's more kids on bikes. So that's part of the education process as well. I guess the other question is, if I'm going to theoretically spend another $4,000, do we have a funding source identified for this, or is this just built into the transportation budget?
Yes, it is. For Muskogee Park, it would be yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, you triggered thinking for me, Councillor Berg. The other place where I might like to see them is at the South Bear Creek Bike Park too, not the entire South Bear complex, but really for me, this largely is about teaching kids what expectations are. And I know there's a lot of kids who ride to the South Bear to do that, and maybe when they're seeing a sign coming in and out of that bike park, that might help them understand what expectations are when they're in an area. So that might be an area we want to add just 2 signs to. I see Mr. Nellis with a comment.
Through the chair, in response to your last comment, the Muskogee Park auction will be putting these on the back of the wayfinding signs we have currently, so there would be signs in the immediate vicinity of the South Bike Park.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. I'll ask again, and if anybody on the phone has any comments they want to share before we get to business. Okay, I do think it is just us. So, Councillor Berg, do you have a motion you'd like to make?
Yes, I do. Committee recommend council approve the use of additional trails. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Councillor Brett. Oh,
Sorry, Mayor Clayton, you're
no, sorry. I just want nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay, great. And I would just highlight that this will go to council, so everybody will be in the room and have a chance to properly discuss this before any actual decisions are made. Councillor Berg.
Yes, committee recommend council approve the use of additional trail safety signage on small scale at Crystal Lake and Muskogee Park as identified as option A and option B within this report.
Great. And Mayor Clayton, Councillor O'Connor, if you heard the motion, you're welcome to vote.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. So the motion is to recommend council.
Yeah, no, we've heard it all. I'm just letting you know we've heard it all.
Okay.
I just wasn't able to get off mute before you started again. Anyways, vote in favor of that motion.
Great.
Councillor O'Connor in favor of that.
Excellent. Thank you. And that motion carries. So thank you for the report. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And that brings us to our outstanding items list. Chief Lemieux.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I would recommend we remove item 1214 and item 1216, which were dealt with today. And I'd like to thank committee for only adding one more item to our list today. Thank you.
We substituted it, I'd argue. Councillor Berger, are you willing to make a motion to accept as amended?
Yeah, committee received the January 17th, 2023 outstanding items list as amended for information.
Excellent. Mayor Clayton, Councillor O'Connor.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor O'Connor in favor.
Excellent. And that motion carries. And with that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.